Hello, and welcome to I Scream, You Scream, your weekly scoop of the most chilling histories, mysteries, and true crime. I'm Gina.
I'm Kathryn.
And every month we choose a new topic and a new flavor of ice cream to go along with it. This month we're talking werewolves, and we're having Blue Moon ice cream, which I think Kathryn has an exciting update on. So grab a spoon and let's dig in.
Yay! I have some this time.
Yay! And you haven't
Fourth time's a charm.
had any
I've not
yet.
tried it.
Okay.
I made some. It's very soupy. It's blue. I added some Halloween sprinkles on it just to make up for the fact that I haven't had any.
Very you.
So let's see if I did an okay job. Okay is precisely how I did.
Yay!
It's not exceptional. This is not going to be a 5-star month.
But you know what?
Edible.
Sometimes
it's sweet and edible. Yeah.
okay is all you need, you know?
Yeah. I did an okay job considering all things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's edible. Phil did try some before I came up here, and he said that he wasn't sure if it was Blue Moon, but it is good. He goes, yeah, I would eat that. And then there was a pause, and he adds, willingly. So, honestly,
do you mean Phil, your husband?
Oh, yeah.
That you married?
So, remember a couple episodes ago, everyone at home, we made a big deal about me getting married, and then we did not mention it at all in the follow-up episode. Sorry. Definitely did get married, just forgot to mention it. Things did go according to plan, so yes, I do mean my husband. We recorded last week's episode, I think, a day after or 2 days after?
Something. It was right after.
Yeah, because we did it Friday, and then we recorded, I think. Oh, yeah, we did record Sunday. And we did not even talk. We talked about it for a second, and then we were like, let's go.
It's because we talked about it before we got into the recording. And so by the time we were recording, we were like, okay, well, that's done. Just move on.
Yeah. So anyway,
congratulations.
Yes, I did get married. Yeah, very small. Just us and our parents. It was great. It was bomb. I was showing people pictures, and it was described to me as spooky chic, which, wow.
It was.
Thank you.
So was. Yeah.
I was very proud of that. Was not intentional. It was just vibes.
Not intentional. Those black candles on the mantle just got there by themselves.
I thought it was elegant with our Baphomet statue in the middle. That was Phil's idea.
I love that. Oh, I love it. The pictures are so good.
It was so much fun. Yeah, I had a great time.
Yay.
Man, this ice cream tastes weird. It just tastes like vanilla with a little aftertaste of almond and then something else, which is lemon, but you can't really tell it's lemon. I didn't have raspberry, so I couldn't put it in there. Sorry, I'm just focused on this ice cream because it was such a long road. Anyway,
I'm so relieved that you have some now because I have opinions about this flavor and I've been biting my tongue for the last few episodes because I didn't want to color your opinion of it. We don't have to rate the ice cream now, but I think we both are going to be perhaps on the lower end, maybe.
Okay. I want to make you decide if we rate it now or later.
Let's rate it now. Let's get it out of the way.
Now. We're talking about it.
Okay. I'll go first.
Tell me your thoughts because you've been sitting on them for a month.
It's a weird fucking ice. Listen, it's a 1 from me. No hate to anybody who likes Blue Moon. Totally cool and fine by me. This personally is just not to my taste. It reminds me too much of bubblegum and there are no bits of any variety in it. Also, it turns my tongue and my teeth blue, which is probably a manufacturing issue on my end. But yeah.
Okay, I think I'm good.
Yeah, my tongue's definitely blue.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yours was really blue that first time. Let me see.
And it's gotten more bubblegummy ever since.
Yeah, yours is bluer than... I don't think yours is bluer than mine. It's just well, I don't know. Maybe it is. I can't tell. Yeah. I think mine looks more blue on camera. Mine's a very, very light blue.
It kind of looks almost like blue Play-Doh. Your one, that shade of blue. Yeah.
It's definitely not that blue in real life. That's, I think, just the camera. Yeah. It's a very light blue.
Okay.
I was afraid to put too much. I don't have very much food coloring, and I don't use food coloring for anything ever. So I don't know why I was worried about running out. I just like, I didn't want this to be the thing I used all my food coloring on because I already used like half of what I had on the last batch that ended up all over my floor, which I also spilled again today. I just made this earlier today. I'll just jump right in. This is also a 1 from me. It would be 0 if not for the fact that like I enjoyed the other things I ate this month that were not Blue Moon ice cream. I knew that I wasn't gonna like the flavor. I was hoping that me straying from the original recipe was gonna be a little bit helpful, but it just tastes like vanilla with a little bit of a mystery flavor, which I think is what it's like, a gentle Blue Moon flavor, you know? So like I already knew I was not a huge Blue Moon fan. I really just did it for the bit. But while I was making it today, there was some more spillage, which like the one is more about like the experience of trying to make the ice cream was full on 0, like -10. So today, the ice cream maker worked. Everything with the ice cream maker was good. Everything was fine. But when I like first step in the entire thing, I got my carton of milk out of the refrigerator and I went to shake it and the cap was not on all
No. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
You know when the screw part gets stuck
It's
on the
like
wrong one
wonky.
and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was like sideways and I didn't realize that. I thought I had picked up the one that I hadn't opened yet, so I thought the thingy was still on it, so I was going to shake it and then open it, but I must have recently it felt full, so I must have recently opened that one. So, and I just like didn't realize it. Yeah, so my floor is sticky again, but not as bad as it was.
The universe just does not want you to have Blue Moon.
Did not. The universe was like, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you out.
You're not going to like it.
You're not going to enjoy this. But that's okay. The ice cream, big no. Big no from me. But everything else about this month was great. That first one, that fake one I did using the raspberry and I mixed in some lemon and almond and vanilla, that was bomb. That was so good.
I believe it.
I loved it. But it didn't taste like bubblegum at all. It didn't taste like Blue Moon at all.
My one is so bubblegummy. And bubblegum is one of my least favorite flavors in the world. I hate
I don't know why
flavor.
I mean, I know why we did this
for the
to
bit.
ourselves. It was for the bloom. It was for the moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we telling people what we're doing next month?
I want to tell people what we're doing next month because I'm so looking forward to that ice cream flavor that
that's what made me think of it.
it.
I was going to say very excited for next month now that I know my ice cream maker does in fact work and it was just a user error last time. I'm very excited. Do you want to share? I don't remember whose idea this one was. I think it was yours.
It was a collaborative idea.
Oh, it was. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the story goes. Okay. Our topic next month is demons. Hooray. Yay. Demons. And when we were talking about an ice cream flavor for it, at first I suggested cinnamon because something,
oh yeah,
red, stereotypical, like devil demon color.
We felt pigeonholed and it needed to be something spicy. We were like, we're going to have to do a spicy sweet situation, which neither one of us wanted to do. So Gina came up with the brilliant cinnamon pivot.
And then I asked if there was something we could do with apples because like the fruit of original sin and all that. And Kathryn said, why don't we just make like a fucking apple cinnamon apple pie ice cream situation? So that's what we're doing, and that's going to be delicious.
I really just took both of your brilliant ideas and put them into one sentence.
And what a brilliant idea it was.
Gina was basically like, I don't know, maybe it should be spicy. What about cinnamon? Could we do something with apples? I was like, yes. Let me propose this idea that you just said.
It's going to be so good. Apple anything is like my favorite dessert.
Me too. That was one thing I was going to say. Like, about when we got married. So we just went out to dinner with our parents afterward. And my mom asked me, do you want me to make a cake? Like, should we get a dessert from somewhere else so we can bring it in? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, because your girl already checked the dessert menu. That's like how I made the decision of what restaurant to go to. And I bring that up because they had an apple. Did I tell you about this thing?
You did, yeah.
Okay,
you sent me a picture, I think.
Okay, yes. It was an apple tart with a scoop of cherry ice cream on top. Can you even imagine
the
how
most
wonderful
Kathryn
that tasted?
dessert
So
ever.
good. So good. Highly recommend Morel if you're ever in Milwaukee. Delectable. So anyway, that's like where our heads were at when we were talking about the flavor. But we've already done stuff with cherries, so I wasn't ever going to propose that. I think like just a classic apple cinnamon pie situation.
Which is
so
perfect because it's currently March and I am so very much in the mood for autumn that I can't stand it. Mm-hmm. So this is going to give me the energy I need, I think. But yeah, anyway, before we get to demons and our new favorite ice cream ever, we do have one more episode of werewolves.
We do.
And I believe, rumor is, you have a story for moi.
I don't know why I always do this. Every time you go into such a beautiful transition, I'm like, what? What else do we have for this? It's literally just the episode. I was so excited. Did you see me? I was like, oh, what else do we have?
Someday I'm going to surprise you with something. I don't know what.
Oh, God.
And I don't know if you're going to like
it. No, because that's going to finally be the day where I'm like, yeah, we have an episode.
Yes. I have a story to tell. We have a schedule to keep.
Okay. Well, today's story starts in Wexford County in northern Michigan. So buckle up, because we're bringing it back to the Midwest.
Hell yeah.
Wexford County is a very small and heavily wooded area in the state of Michigan. It was founded in 1840 under a different name that I cannot pronounce. But it was renamed to Wexford County in 1843, and it was named for County Wexford in Ireland. Michigan as a whole has a very large Irish population. Shout out to my mom's family because they're one of them. And is yours too? Or no?
No, the Irish side of my family is, no.
Okay. But do you have family in Michigan?
I have family from Michigan, but they're Italian and German.
Classic. Okay. I don't know why
classic.
Classic German Italian. I think it's because I was going to be like me too, but there's zero German in my family anywhere. Basically, around this time, there was a huge influx of Irish immigrants coming into the United States, and they would come into the U.S. from Canada via Detroit a lot of the times, as opposed to more popular destination, which was Ellis Island in New York City. There was a big concentration of people coming in through Detroit. Fun fact that my aunts will want me to mention is Detroit is the only city in the United States where you need to travel north from Canada to get into the United States.
Wait, what?
Does that fuck you up? Yeah, I'll share a picture of it. But yeah, you have to, from Detroit, you have to travel south to get into Canada. It's the only spot in the United States where that's the case.
Oh, that is a fun fact. Because it kind of loops
around. Yeah, like Detroit's like north of the river to, yeah, we'll share a picture. Anyway, that's a fun fact. So I wanted to share.
That is fun.
So that is actually relevant to, the way people kind of traveled and migrated from one country to the next, because people would come into the U.S. from Canada and they'd be in Detroit. Now, like, where do they go? The whole rest of the country was moving west at this time. This was when that like Manifest Destiny era was kind of starting. And that meant that if you kept going north from Detroit, the world was your oyster. No one was moving that direction. Everyone else was headed west. So it was just this kind of wide open, empty, ginormous, like wooded oasis. Mm-hmm. So the people who moved north found a lot of opportunity in like logging and forestry, because there wasn't a lot of competition. You kind of had like your pick of the land as far as settlers were concerned. To this day, agriculture and forestry is one of the biggest industries in the state of Michigan. Outside of auto industry, I feel like everyone thinks of the auto industry, but like further north, there's a lot of other stuff going on, and most of what's going on is forestry and like logging and stuff like that. So because of the focus on the like logging industry and just forestry in general, a lot of the men who were among like the early settlers in the area worked as lumberjacks. So that's kind of where our story starts. As the legend goes, one day, two lumberjacks, whose names I could not find, so immediately I like don't know about the validity
probably
of
like
any of this.
Hottie McHotterson and sexy face.
I'm imagining like Paul Bunyan type, just like strapping young fellas, you know?
Just punches a tree and it falls down. Yeah.
It just like eats the twigs for like, because it can't find any chewing tobacco. Yeah. Exactly. You know the guy. Yeah.
That is hot, man. I'll tell you what.
Listen, people always ask me how I feel about Phil's beard, and I just say, you're welcome, because that's on me. Just need a little encouragement sometimes. Okay. So they're out in the woods doing whatever the fuck lumberjacks do, and all of a sudden they come upon a beast. It was described as being at least 7 feet tall, had amber eyes, and appeared to be a canine-like animal standing upright on its long, muscular hind legs, and it had the torso of a man. Which I'm kind of like, wait, did we not just describe all the lumberjacks that way? Like, was it just another lumberjack? I don't know.
They were just like, brother!
It's like, hello,
my
you
friend!
Are a beast. Yeah, right? So when the beast noticed the lumberjacks, it let out a, quote, fearsome howl that sounded like human screams.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so maybe not a lumberjack.
I don't think lumberjacks make that sound.
Which actually, I'm kind of thinking of it now. It's like, if it just sounded like human screams, could they have just come upon a human screaming?
Just a really hairy guy.
I'm like immediately like, I'm just jumping way far ahead. Like I'm just cracking into all my theories now. Yeah, like that's it. That's the story. Thank you for coming to I Scream You Scream.
I will say right off the bat, this sounds very Beast of Bray Road.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I'm going to be talking about that. There is a lot of overlap between the two stories. If you tuned in last week, you know that I was going to do something different, but then I decided, upon researching Beasts of Bray Road, I wanted to learn more about Dogman. So that's why we're here doing this right now. So we can blame it on the Beast of Bray Road. They do have very similar stories. So thank you for mentioning that, because that's why this might be a little shorter episode, because it's gonna mostly be like, all right, go back and listen to episodes, whatever. Yeah,
people like, I get why there's a connection. Totally.
Yeah, there is, for sure, and it's definitely different. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. But yes, huge overlap. So this is the original story. Throughout the next like several decades, the beast remained nameless. It was just some anonymous weird thing that these two lumberjacks saw, and, you know, people believed them and were afraid of, you know, whatever was out there, but it didn't really grow from there. It just was these two lumberjacks saw this weird thing, and what the F, okay, that's it. Nothing more really came from it. Until a full century later in 1987. A man named Steve Cook was a radio DJ for a station in Traverse City, Michigan. And Traverse City is, from what I could tell, like 45 minutes to like an hour drive north of Wexford County. So still in that same kind of region of northern Michigan before you get up into the Upper Peninsula. It was April Fool's Day, and he decided to have some fun with the concept of local legends, so he wrote a song that he played on the radio called The Legend of Michigan Dogman. So this is the first time we're getting a name. In this song, he details the lumberjack story, and in addition to that original story, he had a number of other sightings kind of woven throughout. I'm going to tell a couple like snapshots of other alleged sightings that he had in the song. He had more, but I'm just not going to read the whole song to you. So I'll paraphrase a few. But we'll link the song so that people can read the lyrics and or listen to it if they wish. So the first one was about a farmer in a town called Buckley, Michigan, who was found dead, and he was slumped over his plow, and surrounding his plow was a bunch of dog prints. And from what I could understand, it wasn't like a violent scene. He just was dead and surrounded by dog tracks. This happened in 1897, so 10 years after the lumberjack story. 20 years after that, in 1917, a sheriff was out walking and found a wagon that had no driver, and the horses were found dead nearby. The horses all had wide-eyed expressions on their faces, as if they had been very startled, and it wasn't violent. There wasn't blood or anything like that. It was like they died of fright, basically, and no one ever found the driver's body. I believe they also found dog tracks? What the hell's the word? Dog tracks at that scene as well. In 1967, a group of young people, they were described in the song as hippies. So young people with a van were camping in a van in a national park. I don't know which one, but a national park in Michigan. So they flagged down a park ranger in a panic and told him that they had been awakened in the night by the sound of scratching at the van window, which, no thank you. And when they checked to see what it was, they saw a half dog, half man creature staring back at them, and it is said that it had a smile on its face, which I don't love, but makes a good story. So there were other accounts, like I said, chronicled in the song, but this is just a sampling I plucked out to showcase a couple of things. One, from what I could find, none of these stories can be found published or told anywhere before the lyrics of this song were created. It appears that they were written for this. Like, I don't know if these legends or stories or rumors existed before this Steve guy wrote this song. Maybe verbally, it could be one of those like local legends that, urban myths or legends or whatever. But in the greater internet world, the source that people track all of these stories to is this song. Also, another fact that you can kind of pick up from the song itself, based on these alleged sightings, Dogman makes an appearance in Michigan every 10 years on a year that ends in 7. So that was never explicitly stated in the song, but he kept naming years that these things took place, and they were each decade in years that end in 7. So the first one was 1887, and then every 10 years from there would be another Dogman sighting. So if
it's
we're
almost
like
time.
if we're like in the realm where like this is a true story, this kind of supports the whole Beast of Bray Road being Dogman, and there's like a migration pattern, because Beast of Bray Road, none of those sightings ever took place on a year that's ended in 7. So there could be something to that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm in. I'm buying.
Yeah, I know. I love that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Needless to say, this Steve guy has played a pretty big, if not like the main and potentially only role in the development of this legend. I shouldn't say only, because once this song was released, it was not like presented as fact in any way. This was very clearly like a April Fool's Day thing. It was a prank. People knew that. Despite that, people kind of responded to it and were like, I had an experience that kind of matches what you're describing. And like, people started talking about Dogman by name. And even though the stories in the song couldn't be strongly substantiated, a lot of, I guess, substantial stories did come out as a result of it. So it kind of turned into like a, was this based on something? Did he like accidentally like capture something that is real that people have seen, and he just accidentally gave it a name? It was started as a joke and people were like, oh wait, no, this is real? Or is it one of those things where, I don't know, what is there is a name for like people thinking they see something just because they're kind of told that it is an option of a thing to be seen. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like
Oh,
you
yeah.
wouldn't
I
have
know what you're
it
trying to
was like
say.
a lot of the stories were like, hey, I saw something weird. Never would have thought about it. It did look like a weird dog, but now that I know there's a possibility of there being a dog man, maybe that's who it was. And like it just, the faith in that just
Yeah,
kind
I
of
can't
grew over
think of
time.
the word for it, but
There's
I
a
know what you
phrase
mean.
for it, some psychological something or other. Regardless, like it does kind of beg the question where all of these other stories were coming from. The stories themselves, like people's response to this Dogman story and just, you know, this radio DJ as a whole, like it all stayed very local until Linda Godfrey started researching Beast of Bray Road. She got wind of it while she was doing research, trying to figure out what the beast could be. She learned about the song and learned about like this whole local legend over in Michigan, which is very close by to Wisconsin, particularly northern Michigan. The culture is very overlapped. And that's kind of where things started to pick up steam because she wrote about it. She used him as a source when talking about who the Beast of Bray Road could be, and Dogman kind of grew from there. So they kind of grew in tandem. They each supported each other as their own individual local legends, but like separately. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
they like complemented each other. So you can almost think of them as like, if they're not the same being, the legends themselves are like kind of cousin cryptids, you know, like
Aw.
they have very similar backgrounds and they grew into local lore and grew nationally kind of in the same way. Part of what I think helped them grow is Beast of Bray Road is exactly that. It is a beast that is seen on one road in one state in the country. Dogman, there's a lot more space to kind of speculate who and what it is outside of Beast of Bray Road. So we'll like just separate ourselves from that story for a second. Dogman sightings have happened in many states. We'll link the map. I found a really fun Dogman sighting map. I believe the states that have the highest concentration of Dogman sightings are, of course, Michigan is number one, followed closely behind Wisconsin, then Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, and Illinois. So like kind of upper Midwest, Great Lakes region, and then it trickles down into the South and then moves out west. So you can see Dogman's been seen everywhere, which kind of, again, sort of begs the question of like, is this just one singular little cryptid, or is this a weird type of animal that people are seeing? Like, is this like a supernatural thing, or are people just seeing weird dogs or weird wolves or whatever it might be? You know what I mean? Steve himself has been very clear that he does not ascribe to the Dogman story being real, which makes sense because he literally made it up. Like he is literally the one who like put a name to it, so it makes sense that he wouldn't necessarily believe in quote a Dogman. But similar to what we talked about, you know, like Linda Godfrey in the Beast of Bray Road episode, he does believe that the people who've come forward with Dogman sightings since the song was written, he does believe and support the fact that they have seen things. So he's not just like, oh, you know, blah, 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 it's not real, blah, blah, blah. They're just the legend of, quote, a singular Dogman creeping around the area is, and I'm speaking for myself now, I think it's a little harder to ascribe to just because of how many sightings there have been. And we'll read a couple here in a second. But a lot of the sightings have been a little bit different. So it's just one of those things where it's like a lot of the stories are very similar in the way people encounter these beasts, but it's not like you see the same one all over the place everywhere you go. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if it is all a joke, what could people actually be seeing? I know like we just kind of dove into that a little bit, but I think specifically with the lumberjacks, I want to go like all the way back and like what everyone could have been seeing, because that, like, there was no rumor, there was no song at that point, there wasn't any indication that they could have seen anything weird. One of, I think, I don't want to say most popular explanations, because the most popular explanation is it's just Dogman. Like, they just saw a weird dog beast. There's not much discussion on what other type of beast they could have seen. There is some talk of Bigfoot in the area. Like, that is like a Bigfoot. What's the word I'm looking for? Like,
would you say it's his stomping ground?
I would. That's what I was trying not to say. Like, I was trying to like find like a more like on the nose. Yes, like
What,
that's
territory?
the Bigfoot stomping. Yeah, territory is the actual word
Okay.
I was looking for. But yes, stomping ground is what I wanted to say. Yes, territory. But yeah, so it's definitely one of those areas that like you'll be driving down the street and there's like a Bigfoot's gift shop or whatever.
Okay.
Like, you know. I don't know. Have you spent a lot of time in northern Michigan?
I have definitely been to places like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just it's just for our listeners who haven't, like, not much has changed since 1887 in northern Michigan. Obviously, it's a lot more populated just because the whole world is a lot more populated, but it's still very rural. A lot of, like I said, forestry is still the number one industry up there. I think one of the close seconds is just tourism. A lot of like lake houses, kayaking, you know, it's just very like naturey and shit. Anyway, so
sorry, I loved that. Okay, I'm sorry, keep going.
I myself am an indoor girl. I like nature. I do like nature. I don't like, well, I can't say I don't like camping because I've never been camping. I'm scared of the dark. I don't know what else to say. Like, why would I want to put myself in a position where I'm vulnerable in the woods in the dark when I could just be in bed, you know?
Because it's fun.
Is it? What if you see Dogman?
Then you become friends,
and beast.
You apologize to him that people are saying mean things about him.
I don't know. Listen, let me be very clear. Phil and I have been together for 5 years, and every single summer I tell him, like, I want to go camping with you. I've never been camping, but I have real negative opinions about camping as someone who's never gone. So, like, I want you to change my mind because it's like a big deal to people, and I want to see what all the fuss is about. But I've never been, so I can't plan a camping trip because I don't know.
I'll do it.
You know what I mean?
Next time
I don't know how to do it.
We'll go. Yeah.
No, Phil's got to do it because I've been telling him to do it for 5 years. So, like, I don't care if you secretly do it for him, but, like, that's his to-do list. Like, okay. That's on him. So, until Phil finally plans that trip, I have to be anti-camping just because it's, like, a personality trait of mine.
Understandable.
But, like, you know, change my mind. I'm open to having my mind changed. I just am like, on the surface, there's not a lot about camping that like appeals to me other than I do like the smell of the woods. Like, I love a good pine. Like, I love the scent of nature.
We can't go down this rabbit hole because I won't shut up. I love so many things about camping. Sorry. Camping is so fucking fun.
I know you like camping.
Yeah. Oh,
that's my thing. I like being out in nature in the daytime. Like, I love a good hike. It's one of my favorite things. I'm like very hesitant to be in that environment at nighttime.
It's so peaceful.
Anyway, I don't even know where we are in the story.
Sorry. Anymore. Yeah. Okay.
So, okay, yes. Who are these lumberjacks actually seeing in the woods in 1887, if not Dogman? Friendly reminder that these were Irish immigrants who were very likely new to the area, and everyone in their community had the same blue eyes and freckles as their neighbor. It is very possible that these men happened upon someone from one of the indigenous communities that were on the land at the time. I feel like this is also like a recurring theme in a lot of like the origins in a lot of our stories. But that land up there was home to both the Chippewa and Ojibwa communities, and it is very likely that a lot of people who were new to the area just had never seen these people before. And a lot of the animals would have been new to them as well. So if, you know, an indigenous person was wearing like pelts or, you know, furs or whatever from an animal they didn't recognize, you know, particularly if it was dark or, you know, through the brush in the woods. Remember, this is a very heavily wooded area. There's no hiking trails. This is like wilderness. It's very possible that they just saw someone unfamiliar dressed in a very unfamiliar way, and their brain like filled in the gaps, and half man half beast was born. That is,
That's fucking funny.
in my opinion, the most likely thing that likely happened, especially based on their description. Going back to the beginning, a howl that sounds like a human screaming
Yep.
very likely could have just been a human screaming, or whatever. Or
Imagine
speaking a
being,
different language. It could have
yeah,
been a man speaking to them, or calling out like, hey, there's some weird white guys here, like in another language, and they were like,
yeah.
a beast roaring, it sounds like a human.
That's why it's funny to me, because imagine
Yes.
the position of being in like, okay, these motherfuckers are just coming in and stomping all over my shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just chilling here, and
Yeah,
somehow they saw me, started screaming, and now they think there's cryptid in the woods.
there's a cryptid in
And
the
it
woods
spawned
because,
generations of lore
yeah.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Yeah, this person that they saw was probably like, hey, these people are here, and they're just like, oh no, oh
Yeah.
howl. Yeah,
You must be
just this
half
like,
wolf.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So that's what I ascribe to. That's what I think happened. um I do have to be true to myself and say I still believe there is probably a werewolf in the area. But I think that original kickoff story, I imagine it was something, if not that, perhaps it was a mangy bear that they had never seen. You know what I mean? Just something in the area that they had never seen before. These are very new settlers. Town had only existed as it was for 40 years. Who knows how long these particular lumberjacks had been there. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been literally anything. Part of what led me to that theory was, I was curious if there were any legends from either of these indigenous communities that could have been something that like turned into Dogman. Like maybe there was like a story about a half dog, half, whatever, something similar to that. And I couldn't find anything. And that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If anyone knows of any legends or stories or whatever about something that could be similar to Dogman, I'd love to hear about it, so please send it to us. But I couldn't find anything, so I do think that it is likely that there was just nothing there. It likely was just a person that they misunderstood to be a beast. But like I said, that doesn't change the fact that there have been present day sightings, or more modern sightings, I guess I should say, and they continue to come out of the woodwork all over the country, not just in Michigan, but there is still to this day a particular concentration in like the northern woods in Wisconsin and Michigan and all the states that I have already mentioned. So I'm going to share a few. The ones I'm going to share I got from a website called dogmanencounters.com. Extremely straightforward. This site is great. We will link it.
I'm going to open it.
The stories, yeah, yeah. But it's organized in a really great way, because if you go to encounters, it's organized by state. And then if you click on the link for each state, they're organized even further by county. So it's really easy to see if you have any in your area. If you're
Oh
listening
my
instead of
God.
watching, Gina is flipping out right now.
I'm going to spend
Um,
all evening on this site.
yeah, it's interesting. A lot of it, well, before I jump in, I do want to say a lot of the stories are very similar. And I also have to say, the stories are like so American, like for our listeners. Like, and I do not mean this in like a negative way at all. I feel like usually that has not a great connotation, but I feel like they really paints a picture of the areas that these take place. Like one of them, I don't know, it was something like, you know, I live off of highway, whatever the heck, that intersects with blah, 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 and I never leave
That's
my house
so
without my
American,
10
too.
millimeter on my hip. Like, truly, which, like, yes, that is, like,
Aw,
fully what
home.
happens up in the Northwoods, for sure. So, the person who runs this website does do a couple different things. They have a Dogman podcast, to my knowledge, based on what I read. There's also a Bigfoot show as well. So, full credit to this website. Really fun resource if you're interested in some more Dogman stories, but I'm going to read a couple of them here. So the first one is from an anonymous sender. The account happened on July 20th, 2015, so just about 10 years ago. It was late at night after a small barbecue/party at my uncle's farm, miles north of Ann Arbor. I was coming out of the barn to get some more food when I heard sticks breaking in the tree line to my right. My first impression was that one of the dogs got outside, so I went to go see if this was the case. I walked toward the sound and remember hearing the creature flinch because the movement stopped as I approached. I called out for the golden retriever and peered into the trees. The barn had spotlights facing the house, and with a white paint job on it, they created a glow that allowed me to see better. About 7 feet off the ground, a long muzzle poked through the trees, followed by the full figure of this creature. It was only 20 feet from me, so I got the full picture. It was tall and lean, but very muscular. It had distinct brown pelt on its body with blackish fur on its shoulder. It had huge paws for feet, but its hands looked like they had 5 fingers, so they resembled long human hands instead of paws, except for the fur and claws on them. Its head was the scariest. This thing had a huge set of canines. It looked like it was snarling, but I believe it was trying to smile, kind of like the hippie van. Just, I don't know. I couldn't make out exactly what its eye color was because of how dark it was, but they pierced into my soul. As the creature came into full view, I remember saying out loud to myself, "Werewolf." I backed up slowly and the creature stood there. Right? Okay. Like, help me out. How do I think that this person said this? Let's pause. So I remember saying out loud to myself, "Werewolf." Do we think he, like, yelled it?
I don't think he was chill about it.
Definitely not chill. But was it like a...
Maybe a panicked... Yeah,
or
maybe something like that.
Was it like, "Werewolf"? Because that, to me, like, a scream implies not to myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to alert.
But I also think
people
the way
around
that
me.
you remember yourself saying it retrospectively might not be what actually, like, he might have thought that he just said it to himself, but he actually screamed it. You know what I mean?
Or maybe, like, yeah, I do know what you're saying. Kind of like, yeah, that's definitely like a fright thing. Like, when you're so scared, you're like scared speechless. Maybe he was trying to say it for everyone else, but was like, "Werewolf, werewolf, werewolf,"
Yes.
you know?
Yeah,
that type of thing.
I like to think that he was just like, "Werewolf."
Werewolf.
Sorry. Okay.
That's what that is.
I'm good. I'm zoned in. I'm ready.
Okay. I've got like 2 sentences left. So he says this thing to himself some way, somehow. Then it says, I backed up slowly and the creature stood there like a proud man standing over a deer he had hunted. It watched me for about 30 seconds, but it felt like 30 minutes. That's when my father, uncle, cousin, and grandfather all came out of the barn. When I tell you this thing ran, I mean it ran. It turned around, dropped on all 4s, and leapt into the forest, making only a slight noise. I told my cousin about it, but he didn't believe me.
That's fucking creepy.
Yeah, right? That's like they full-on described like actually a werewolf as they look in like CGI horror movies.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. Yeah.
Is that what you were imagining? Like actual like Wolfman post CGI. Yes. What? The Benicio del Toro? That's what I was imagining. Have you seen... Wait, I don't think it's out yet. There's a new Wolfman coming out that I really want to see. It looks gory though, which I don't love, but I love the Wolfman movie.
I haven't seen
maybe
Wolfman.
it's out. I don't know. I'll tell you about it when I see it. It looks good. It looks very good.
Okay.
Anywho, so the next one is my favorite. I really, really like this one. It is from someone named Sue, and it took place in July 1975, which I also have to point out, neither of these took place in the 7th year.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that also lends to the maybe they're just regular werewolves.
We acknowledge. And we move on.
Okay. So it says, I was newly married, about 21 years old, and had a small baby. My sister, who was a teenager, was visiting us. I know. I was going to move past it. I was going to just move past it.
21.
So this was 1975. I know that's still kind of young for 1975, but like, man, can you imagine having a baby at 21? I literally couldn't even pump my own gas at 21 practically. like,
Yeah, no.
like I'm joking,
You
but
Oh no, you didn't know me
emotionally.
when I was you knew me when I was 22 and you remember what
Shortly
that was
after,
like.
yeah.
Yeah. No. There's no fucking way I could have had a baby. Okay.
God.
I'm so sorry I keep interrupting you with my social
That's
commentary.
okay. No, I was gonna try to move past that, and I was like, "There's no way she's gonna let me go on.
I
There's just
couldn't
no
hold
way."
it in.
Well, also because okay, sorry, now I'm interrupting my own self. One of my favorite things about all the stories we talk about when it comes to people in their 20s is like stories that take place in like the 1800s. I'm like, they were 30 years old, and you're like, 30? What a baby! It's like, no, they were like almost a grandma at that point.
I
That is like one of
know.
my favorite recurring things in all of our episodes
I
is us
know.
acting like 25 is like a newborn in 1850. Like this woman has 7 children at this point.
It's such a I can't contain that reaction though. Like it just
Yeah.
pours out of me.
I think I almost have the opposite reaction. Anything before my lifetime, I'm just immediately like Stone Age. Like those people were like child brides at 13. Like so 1975, I'm kind of like, all right, 21, like that's normal. That is still young for 75 though, I will say. Like no judgment or anything. I just like the average age of having children had moved up. I feel like this is more like when our parents were born, their parents were like
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
20,
one of my
21.
grandmas got married when she was like 14 or something crazy like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it happens.
Which, and that would have been earlier than this, but like, not by
I think it
much.
was actually
No.
16. Well, she had my dad and yeah, no,
I
it
was
would
gonna
have
say
been
14
way
was
before
still
this.
young
Yeah.
for, yeah.
It would have been way
But
before that.
16 wasn't. 16, 17, 18, that was all normal.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, you got one sentence in. Please read me the
I'm going to
story.
read it again too. So,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just be prepared.
I'm ready this time.
Okay. I was newly married, about 21 years old, and had a small baby. My sister, who was a teenager, was visiting us. My husband, my sister, and I had all gone to our bedrooms to settle down and go to sleep. I would say it was around 11 or 12 at night. We were just starting to relax and get sleepy when out of nowhere there was this horrible, loud howl slash yell. I mean, it was so loud it made my chest vibrate and my ears hurt. The sound was not human, but had a guttural human like sound mixed with what sounded like a wolf. We were living in a mobile home at the time, and it held just outside our back door in the hallway, near our bedroom. We jumped out of bed, looked at each other, and both said at the same time, "What the hell was that?" My husband was an avid hunter. He wasn't the kind of guy to scare easily. His face drained of all color. My sister came running down the hallway, white as a ghost, and said, "What was that?" I told her I didn't know. My husband said he was getting his rifle and grabbed it out of the closet. He opened up the back door and yelled out into the wind, "You better get the bleep out of here or I will blow your head off."
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Welcome to Northern Michigan. He listened a moment before I yelled at him to please shut the door. He did, and we never heard anything anymore after that. Needless to say, we stayed up all night afraid to go to sleep. I've never forgotten that howl. There's no way it was a dog or coyotes. I've heard both of them howl. It wasn't a guy joking around either. It was so loud, there is no way a human could have made a sound like that. That's it.
Even though I kind of giggled a little bit when you were reading it, I do think it was very brave that the husband tried to yell it off.
Yeah, I think especially, so let's even just say it was just your standard wild animal. I would not go outside. You know
Me
what I
neither.
mean? Like,
No. Yeah. I'd be
you
hiding in
never
my
know.
closet or hiding under the blankets doing the whole if it can't
Right.
see me, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, as a reminder, those are both from dogmanencounters.com. We will have those linked in the show notes, so check that out if you want to read some more. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the history of Dogman and the Dogman legend. It is surprisingly short and straightforward. Literally just started with some Traverse City, Michigan DJ in northern Michigan. Like pulling a
I
prank.
respect
That was
that.
literally it. And it just grew. And now it's like part of cryptid lore, basically.
That's such an interesting evolution because, like,
Mm-hmm.
writing a song about there being a cryptid, spurring tons and tons of discussion about said cryptid, is very funny, but the stories and the number of sightings are make me deeply uncomfortable and make me feel very uneasy because that's very scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think a quote unquote werewolf sighting would be so terrifying because of the connotation we have based on like horror movies or just stories and legends and blah blah blah. But in reality, would it be, and this is a genuine question because obviously I don't know, like would it be that much different from just running into a wild animal? Like
I
just
don't think so.
because like I feel like running into like a bear or something would be just as scary, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
the only thing that I feel like it's that whole the fear of the unknown, you know what I mean? Like I am significantly, that's another reason I don't want to go camping is I'm afraid of encountering a bear because I don't have any survival skills whatsoever. So I would be significantly more afraid of that situation than someone who's like a wilderness explorer or something, you know, who like has those skills and understands. But
Yeah.
if a werewolf is not even confirmed to exist in any capacity, it's like no one knows what to do when you encounter one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you can, yeah. I think the encounter I imagine would be it would be hard to think critically in that moment because fight or flight would kick in so fucking hard. But I feel like a really
Yeah.
difficult part of it would be the aftermath when you try and be like, okay, what was that thing? Like, what the fuck did I see? And then
Mm-hmm.
trying to tell people about it and maybe they don't believe you. I think that
Oh,
would be like the psychological damage that could cause
yeah.
would be pretty significant, I think.
That's a good question. If you saw a werewolf, if you saw, let's say you had that first encounter where you know for a fact what you saw standing in front of you outside of a barn, the lighting was clear, you know what you saw, would you tell someone and who would you tell?
Yeah,
And
you.
okay. Yeah, I guess I knew the answer. Maybe that's subconsciously why I wanted to ask. But like, would you, so for like, would you try to like convince other, like, yes, you would tell me, take me out of the equation.
Okay.
Because I'd be like, fuck yeah, did you get pictures? Not for proof. I'm just curious. Like, was he cute? I don't know.
um, yes, I would try and tell people. I would try and package it in a way that didn't make it sound like it was a werewolf. I would probably make it sound
Mhm.
like there was just a dangerous wild animal because I would get
Like
concerned
I saw
about
this weird
attacks.
thing kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
like if it was in a campground, for example, that I saw this thing,
Oh,
I would want to get everyone else out of the campground in case this thing became violent. So I would try and
smart.
find a way to like I might just say there's a wolf and then deal with the fact that it was a werewolf later.
Okay, interesting. So, yeah, it wouldn't be about trying to convince people you saw a werewolf. It would be like, hey, this is spooky.
Yeah. But then later on, I
Okay.
definitely would for sure try and convince people I saw a werewolf. Once
I
I knew
don't know
that
what I
there
would
was not like
do.
an imminent danger of someone getting eaten or something. Yeah, what would you do?
I don't know. I'm going to be totally honest. I think I'm so sad to say this out loud, but I honestly think I would be even nervous to tell you because
Really?
it would catch me off guard so much, and I think I would question it so hard that I think I would be more inclined to like call my therapist like than believe it. But I
I
don't
get
know.
you.
I guess like but then me in reality, I don't think that's like what I'm afraid would happen. I don't think in reality that would I think I would actually tell you slash Phil. I think I would be so scared of what I saw that it would be very realistic of me to just think I had gone in shock and like blacked
Hmm.
out and had a weird daydream. You know what I mean? Because like again, I don't have any survival skills. But then you know what? I think back to when we saw that bear when Phil and I were in the UP.
Mm-hmm.
And like my first thought was like, oh my God, like what do you feel like? Can I pet you? Like how close can I get? like, I immediately was like, sweet baby cutie boy.
Okay,
Like,
so don't do
immediately.
that.
So, like, I guess I don't know. See, I'm telling you, no survival skills.
Okay, so you're not, yeah, don't go camping alone ever, maybe.
No, I
If you do
can't.
go
Because
camping,
I've seen
yeah.
those videos of, like, the big national parks and, like, what was that video? There was like a grizzly that had been following people on the trails. Did you see that? There was like a period of time last summer. I don't remember where it was, in like Yosemite or something like that, where like it was very like high traffic. And this bear was just like really irritated with everyone and it kept causing problems. And like even just watching that video, like I think I would have a heart attack if I saw a grizzly bear following me. When we saw the black bear in the UP, we were like unreachable and it was cute. Like it was a small
Black bears are like,
black bear. Yeah, like it was not
they're
threatening.
fine.
Like it was definitely
no bear is a fun bear to encounter in the wild, but black bears are like American black bears are pretty fine.
I just wouldn't trust myself in that situation. So
I get that.
I don't know. I think like if I encountered a werewolf from like my car or something, if I was in a spot where it could not get me, hundo P, I would tell everyone I ever met. Like, but I think like if I was in measurable danger, I think I'd be like too scared to say anything. You know
like,
what I mean?
Yeah. That
like
makes
I don't know
me
if I'd
wonder.
process properly.
Makes me wonder how many sightings haven't been reported. If this thing is real, if werewolves are real, how many people are just keeping it to themselves because it's so difficult to like when you see it alone. It's like we were talking about that a few episodes ago when there's no one to verify that you saw what you saw and tell you that, hey, you're not crazy. That thing was real,
There is a time where I genuinely thought I saw a unicorn from the bottom of my heart. I was in the car with Adam and we were driving down the road and I saw what I thought looked like a strange horse. So I said, hey, look at that horse. I go, it like clicked before my mouth could catch up with my brain. I spat the words, oh my God, no, that's a fucking unicorn. And I was so sure and so confident and so like, it just came out of my mouth because I was like, that's what I'm seeing. That's what my eyes are seeing. Anyway, it turned out to be a donkey and it was none of those things.
What was the horn?
I think like it was standing in front of something that like, do you know what I mean? Like it was, we were in a moving car going 60 miles an hour on a country road. Like it was like one of those. And I like saw it from afar and we were like coming up close to it. And but that process of like verbally communicating happened so quickly. I was just like sharing what I was seeing in real time. And Adam, it's just driving like, what the fuck? Like what is happening? Yeah.
Oh God, I love that.
So if I was in a situation like that, I would for sure share that I saw a werewolf. Yeah. Contrary to what I just said, I'm usually very good at spotting animals like while I'm driving. That one unicorn situation was an outlier. I don't know what was going on there.
Spotting animals. I'm the worst at it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm like surprisingly good considering I like don't pay attention to a lot of stuff. Like
that's my problem. I'm not observant at all.
But I wonder, now that I'm saying it out loud, I've never like talked myself through this out loud. I wonder if I'm like subconsciously looking for like a crypt, like if I'm searching for like the beast. Do you know what I mean? Like
it never
I think
turns
that might
off.
be part of
the
it.
hunt is always on.
I'm
Not
always,
the hunt.
yeah.
The search.
Maybe I'm Van Helsing. I don't know.
Yes, Catherine Van Helsing. It's like from What We Do in the Shadows. Guillermo.
Oh my God.
You're Guillermo. Yeah.
Oh my God, wait. I love Guillermo.
Me too.
But like I wouldn't want to be Guillermo.
Me neither. But I love Guillermo. And I love the actor who plays Guillermo. Yeah.
Me too.
Oh my God.
Man, I missed that. Did you finish watching that show?
We did. I think we did. I'm pretty sure we did.
Okay. I feel like it ended so well. I loved that show.
Yeah.
Nadia remind me. Nadia? Not Nadia. Sorry. Nadia reminds me so much of you. Like so much.
That is so
I know.
Nice. Oh my God, thank you. Because I'm in love with Laszlo. Like Matt Berry in general. In love with him.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't think that, I mean, I guess if I had to pick a character that reminded me the most of you, it probably would be Nandor.
Okay, that's kind of what I was hoping for, but like I don't think I'm any of them. But I do feel like
You're the most like Nandor, I think.
because he's very like, I don't mean this as an insult to myself, but he's very like just kind of basic, but he's got a lot of fun ideas. I like
I
his
meant it in
ideas.
like he has such a combination of like happy go lucky, really kind of adorable when he's exciting about something, very
He's
charming, but
adorable. Yeah.
extremely bloodthirsty and very, very dangerous.
Okay, yeah, I feel like
That's you.
I love that vibe. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like Nandor. I always hesitate to say Nandor is my favorite character because I don't mean basic in a negative way, but there's nothing like they all have very specific types of funny, and he's kind of like
Yeah.
baseline. Like he's kind of like the foundation.
But he's so funny.
I just love him. I think he's like, I think he is actually my favorite character, but I also think it might just be because of that. It's like, actually relate to him. He also like is a little bit of a tantrum thrower, which so am I. I like the fact that he literally just like will not set Guillermo free. Like, I would do that shit. Like, if someone's helping me, I'm not going to turn you into a vampire. Like, who's going to help me?
God,
Yeah,
I need
I
to
fully
rewatch that
relate to
show
Nandor.
now.
It's such a good show.
It's
I
a great
actually,
show.
that is like one of the few shows that I'm like so happy with the way it ended. I think they did a great job. I think that they wrapped it up
I don't
in a
know
way
if I
that did
did
it
finish
justice.
it because I can't remember
It
how it
just
ended.
ended. It literally
Yeah, I
just
don't.
ended this fall.
No,
So
then
if
no, I
you,
don't think. I think I
yeah,
watched everything except for maybe the last season.
yeah, it's a great season. They did a good job. I really
Okay.
highly, 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 highly recommend.
Okay, I have my work cut out for me. But
Well,
thank you for the story about
you're welcome.
Dogman.
That's it. It's kind of short. I felt kind of bad that like, it really just is as straightforward as it seems.
I dig
Yeah,
it. I dig it a lot. And I
me
think that
too.
was a great way to end Werewolf Month because that is such a classic
It
tale. Like
is,
that it's
yeah.
a very classic cryptid tale. So I think that was
Hmm.
excellent. And I'm very much looking
Yeah.
forward to Demon Month.
Before we get to Demon Month, we do have a little surprise next week. We're going to do a little palette cleanser before we jump into the demons. We're not telling you what we're going to be doing, it's a surprise. But just fair warning, if you tune in next week, definitely worth joining us. Don't want to miss it. But we will not be jumping immediately into Demon Month. So stay tuned. More to come. Join
Yeah.
us on Instagram or Facebook if you want to know what we're going to be doing. And yeah, as a reminder, rate and review. I feel like I keep forgetting to remind people to follow us. We are, I almost said functional. What's the word? We're active on the socials. So give us a follow.
Functional on social media.
We're functional, sort of. Give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. That would really help us out. And yeah, until then, little spoons, keep it cool.
Keep it creepy.